Moza Racing has been on a roll recently, releasing new sim racing products in very quick succession. We've seen the SR-P Pedals, Moza's premium pedal set, and now we have the SR-P Pedals, which are the SR-P's smaller sibling. They're designed to bring you the complete 3-pedal set with a load cell brake pedal for a relatively budget price point. And that budget price point sits under £200 or around $220. Well, that's for the complete 3-pedal set. But the SR-P pedals are also available in a 2-pedal format if you don't need the additional clutch pedal. And to be honest, this is the route I'd go down. In the 2-pedal set, you get both the load cell brake pedal and the throttle pedal. This gives you everything you need to go racing, and if like me, you primarily race F1 cars or GT cars, you may never even need the additional clutch pedal. Now, I often find myself saying the same thing when I start to review a Moza product of late, and that is that the product looks eerily similar to another sim racing product that already exists. The Moza R9 wheelbase that I reviewed earlier this year was very similar to a Fanatec CSL DD wheelbase. It offered similar performance for a similar price, all built into a similar looking product. And these SR-P pedals are a continuation of that story. Fanatec released their CSL pedals at the beginning of 2022, and I have to say that they were very good. And now, a few months later, Moza's released the SR-P pedals, and again, they look very similar to the CSL pedals, even to the extent of using an almost carbon copy of the pedal plate and mounting design. They're priced at almost the exact same price, and they feature a load cell sensor that is rated just a little bit higher than Fanatec's. But one key difference to note is that they perform very differently to those CSL pedals, and I'll touch on that a little bit later in this review. But back to the design first. When I first unboxed the SR-P pedals, my initial impressions were very good. Almost the entire pedal set utilises a high quality steel construction. The pedal arm, the footrest and the faceplates are all constructed from metal, and that gives these pedals a really high quality look and feel. This is a trend that I have noticed with Moza products. The value for money you get from Moza is second to none. Just check out my review of the CS steering wheel, and it's an incredibly similar story, with extremely high quality materials used throughout. But back to these pedals, each pedal comes individually packaged, requiring you to undertake a little construction to set them up. Each pedal slots into the footrest with just 4 screws, meaning you certainly won't require an A-level in construction to be able to assemble them. It took me around 3 or 4 minutes to fully assemble the 3-pedal set, and the beauty of this approach is that you get a lot of free rein over the positioning of these pedals. There are 11 pre-drilled holes allowing you to mount the pedals in a wide variety of positions. You can butt them up close to each other or space them out evenly or wider apart. Finding a comfortable position is really simple, and the customization doesn't stop there. You can also adjust the height of the pedal plates themselves, lowering or raising them up and down the pedal arm. And finally, you can switch out the spring and damper behind the load cell pedal to one that is stiffer or softer to suit your driving style. Although I don't think the additional spring and damper pieces are included in the box anymore, or they certainly weren't in mine. So I've actually been unable to test the varying levels of spring stiffness. One thing you do have to note is that you need to connect each pedal individually to the main control box, which is located in the throttle. This is easily done via the included RJ cables, and the cable can be threaded nicely through a small hole in the underside of each pedal. The pedals then connect to your PC via a supplied USB data cable, and this also goes into the side of the throttle pedal. But in my infinite wisdom, I got a little carried away and mounted the pedals straight to my rig before connecting the final USB cable. This resulted in it being almost impossible to connect the USB cable to the pedals while mounted. Instead, I had to unmount the pedals, connect the USB cable and then remount them again. So a quick tip there, don't be a fool like me and mount the pedals before connecting all of the cables. Lesson truly learned. Touching on the mounting a little bit more, the SR-P pedals do come with a variety of screws to help you mount your pedals to your rig, and the pedals themselves do also feature a rubber grip for hard floors. But if you're thinking of using these pedals unmounted on your floor, simply don't even try. The brake pedal itself is pretty stiff, meaning your pedals will be moving all over the place if they're unmounted. There are 2 mounting holes in the footrest where the 2 M6 screws can be attached, and this is your number 1 method of mounting. However, to secure the pedals down, I also mounted them at the rear, and you'll want to do this because if you mount them only at the front, the pedals will rock ever so slightly back and forth as you use them. There is a single mounting hole at the back of each pedal, allowing you to use an M8 screw to secure the pedals to your rig. However, for some strange unknown reason, Moza hasn't included any nuts to actually secure the screw. This would have required a trip to the local hardware store if I didn't already have some laying around. But once you have at least 3 or 4 screws attaching these pedals to your rig, they're certainly not moving anywhere. So now let's take a look at what these pedals are like to race with. Starting with the throttle, well, the throttle and the clutch pedal, as both these pedals are pretty identical other than the faceplate, and I only have good things to say about it. Applying the throttle is really smooth with a good amount of resistance, allowing for precision control. And despite not really liking the way the throttle pedal plate looks, because I'm just not a fan of the long throttle faceplate design, it actually works really nicely in practice, allowing for your right foot to slide smoothly over the plate as you apply more pressure. Combine this with the adjustability that is available in Moza's Pit House software that comes with these pedals, and you can adjust the exact input curve of the pedals. This means you can have a completely linear throttle, or you can create extra fall off at the start or end of the pedal travel. Moving on to the load cell brake, which, let's be honest, is the main attraction with this pedal set, and you get a sensor capable of up to 75 kilograms of pressure, which is more than the Fanatec CSL pedals and less than the Thrustmaster TLCM pedals. Despite being beaten out by the Thrustmaster equivalent, the load cell in these SR-P pedals is more than strong enough to provide good consistent braking. And that's the true benefit of a load cell when compared to other pedals that use technology such as potentiometers. A load cell will always allow for more consistency by reading your input pressure rather than simply measuring angle or distance. And one area where these pedals help you achieve that consistency is in the 2-stage brake pedal design. Behind the brake pedal, you'll find both a spring and a much stiffer damping block. This allows for relatively easy movement of the brake pedal at the start of its travel, but when braking hard, you'll hit that secondary damping block, which gives the pedal a lot of firmness. The damper slows down your pedal travel, allowing you to focus on consistently applying the same amount of force every lap. And I really like this approach, especially when compared to the brake pedal on the Fanatec CSL. With the Fanatec load cell pedal found in the CSL set, the brake is extremely firm. In fact, it barely moves at all when you apply full pressure. This, to me, feels strange, as a brake pedal in a real car does have some travel. This is why I much prefer the approach Moza's taken with their brake design. The lighter spring allows for good control during light braking scenarios, allowing you to really play with your brake input and trail braking. Then the firm damper gives you that stiffness that allows for consistency when braking heavily. Moving on to the clutch pedal, this is possibly the weakest part of this whole pedal setup. Being identical to the throttle in its throw and action surely does save some cost during manufacturing, however, it doesn't allow this pedal to feel like a realistic clutch. There's no degradation or simulation of a bite point that you find in a clutch in a real car, and this is slightly disappointing at this price range, but kinda to be expected. I mean, the clutch does work perfectly fine, especially when shifting gears at high speeds. However, when you use it to pull away from a standing start, there's no real feel in the pedal. So let's move on and look at compatibility. And this is one area where other sim racing manufacturers still have Moza beaten. These pedals, as well as all Moza products up until now, are only PC compatible. There isn't a way of connecting these pedals directly to your wheelbase, ruling out future console compatibility. However, the good news is, because these pedals do connect directly to your PC via USB, you can use them with any other sim racing product you fancy. If you want to purchase these independently of other Moza products, you can. So, with everything said and done, would I recommend the Moza SR-P pedals? And I do have to say yes. At this price range, I'd say these pedals run very closely in terms of design and performance to the Fanatec equivalent, and I do prefer the brake pedal of these SR-P pedals. In terms of the Thrustmasters offering at this point, they add the TLCM pedals with the stronger load cell brake. However, those pedals lack a lot of the grown-up design found in the SR-P pedals, and they also lack in terms of adjustability and customization, resulting in them coming in third place in the budget load cell market currently. Hopefully, in the future, Moza will seriously look at console compatibility, as that is a huge market that's perfect for sim racing products at this price point. But if you're looking for a decent load cell set at this price, you can't go wrong with the SR-Ps.